The lake shimmered like glass under the fading gold of the evening sun. Beyond the tree line, laughter echoed faintly, mingling with the sound of clinking glasses and the low hum of conversation. A long wooden table stood at the edge of the water, draped with simple linens, its surface crowded with wine bottles, half-empty platters, and candles flickering against the approaching dusk. It was supposed to be a celebration, the first time in years that the extended family had gathered at the lakeside cabin. At the head of the table, Evelyn Carrington, dressed in a sharp, shocking pink suit that stood out against the green and brown of the woods, raised her glass. Her silver hair was tied neatly back, her lipstick flawless. She wasn't just the hostess. She was the force that had brought everyone here. Her family owed the cabin's upkeep to her wealth and influence, and she liked to remind them of it. To family, she declared, her voice carrying over the table. The guests repeated the toast, though not all with the same enthusiasm. Some sipped politely. Others glanced at each other with half-smiles, sharing the silent language of people who had gathered more out of obligation than desire. Down by the fence that enclosed the old wooden cabin, a man stood watching. He didn't belong. His clothes were plain, worn jeans, a faded shirt, boots dusted from travel. He leaned against the picket fence with an air that was neither aggressive nor apologetic. His eyes scanned the gathering, not hungrily, but with a kind of quiet claim, as though he were remembering something long lost. It was Lucas Hale. No one at the table had noticed him yet. Not until Evelyn's glass clinked against the wood as she set it down, and her sharp gaze cut toward the cabin. She froze. Her lips tightened, and her perfectly painted nails gripped the table's edge. Then she pushed her chair back with sudden force, startling the guests around her. "What in God's name?" she hissed, her eyes narrow. Lucas lifted his head slightly, meeting her stare. He didn't flinch. He simply stood there, as though he had been waiting for this very moment. "That man," Evelyn snapped, pointing with a trembling finger, "doesn't belong here." Her voice cracked like a whip across the gathering. Guests exchanged confused glances. A few craned their necks to get a better look. "Evelyn," murmured a man in a gray suit beside her. "Who is he?" "A trespasser," she spat, rising fully now, her heels crunching against the gravel. She marched past the table, her pink suit blazing against the muted colors of the woods. Her movements carried fury and authority, like a general storming onto a battlefield. Lucas didn't move. He simply straightened his shoulders and stood his ground as Evelyn approached the gate. "Ew," she barked, pointing at him with the same accusatory finger. "You have no right to be here. This is private property." For a long moment, Lucas said nothing. His gaze drifted past her toward the cabin, as if he were looking at an old friend. Then his voice came, calm, steady, almost disarmingly so. "This cabin doesn't belong to you." The words hit like a thrown stone, and the silence that followed was heavier than before. Behind Evelyn, the guests stirred uneasily. Someone whispered, "What's going on?" Another muttered, "Does she know him?" Evelyn's nostrils flared. "I said leave. Now, before I call the police." "I know you," Lucas replied quietly, his eyes locking with hers. "And I know this place. My father built that cabin with his own hands." He nodded toward the wooden structure behind her. "Before it was ever yours." A ripple of shock ran through the crowd. Some of the guests leaned in, their curiosity piqued. "That's absurd," Evelyn barked, though her voice trembled with the faintest crack, a crack Lucas seemed to notice. "This cabin was bought fair and square. You're nothing but a liar trying to steal what isn't yours." Lucas's jaw tightened. He took a ST. "Arrest this dangerous trespasser." The words cut through the gathering, leaving everyone in stunned silence. Lucas didn't flinch. He stood calmly, his eyes never leaving hers, even as the sound of car doors opening echoed in the distance. The night had begun with laughter, but it was clear now, this family gathering would end in something far darker. The lake lay still and quiet, its surface rippling only where a light breeze touched it. A thin mist hovered just above the water, catching the glow of the sinking sun and scattering it into shades of gold and pink. The scene was idyllic, a postcard of summer peace. Yet beneath that calm beauty, Unease was about to unfold. On the gravel clearing near the water stood a long table crowded with people. Platters of roasted meat and bowls of salad lined the surface, surrounded by bottles of wine and beer. Voices overlapped, laughter, clinking glasses, the scrape of chairs, as the Carrington family gathered for the first full reunion in nearly a decade. At the head of the table sat Evelyn Carrington, matriarch of the clan and undisputed queen of the evening. She was a vision in a bright pink suit, tailored to perfection, her silver hair pulled back in a severe knot. Her sharp eyes missed nothing. To some, she was glamorous. To others, terrifying. To all, she was powerful. "Family," Evelyn declared, raising her glass. Her voice cut through the chatter like a conductor's baton halting an orchestra. "After too many years apart, here we are again. At the lake, at the cabin, together." The guests echoed the toast, though some with more enthusiasm than others. Glasses clinked. Polite smiles flickered.